The history of human civilization has always been a struggle for existence among individuals, classes, and societies. Our ancestors struggled to meet their daily necessities while we live in the luxury of modern amenities. What contributed to it? The period of human history that is responsible for the modern world we live in is the talking point for today's presentation. I am Ahaj Faiak, along with Waki and Sami will be providing a brief presentation over the matter. Now, let us proceed. Here's a brief overview of the topics we are about to discuss. Off we go. Now, what is Industrial Revolution? Industrial Revolution is the process of change from an agrarian society and handicraft economy to one dominated by industries and machine manufacturing. These technological changes introduce novel ways of working and living in fundamentally transformed societies. This process began in Britain in the 18th century and spread to the other parts of the world. Although used earlier by French writers, the term Industrial Revolution was popularized by English economic historian Arnold Toynbee. Why Britain? More precisely, why Britain was the pioneer of Industrial Revolution. In order to understand why Britain succeeded in its nationwide transformation, we must explore the factors behind it. First, the Agricultural Revolution. Many historians consider Agricultural Revolution to be a major cause of the Industrial Revolution, especially in the terms of when and how it began in Britain. Increased food production, being itself a product of new innovations, allowed Britain's population to increase, which benefited the Industrial Revolution. The next main reason is the large supplies of coal present in the country. Coal was a necessary ingredient as it fueled many sorts of machinery such as steam engines. Unlike other European nations, coal in Britain was relatively close to the surface and was therefore relatively easy for miners to find and extract. The third main reason for Britain's industrialization was the basic geography of the country, an important aspect of the early people to transport goods and resources easily across the country. Britain had the advantage as it was an island country with many rivers and canals for shipment purposes. Several entrepreneurs constructed roads and canal systems that helped expand the transportation capabilities. The next main reason was the political climate of Britain. In the 1700s, Britain had a stable government after having gone through civil war and revolutions. The government was also open to the ideas of laissez-faire capitalism, which was necessary for industrialization to occur. The final reason why Britain was the first country to industrialize was due in large part to its vast colonial empire. Britain had access to huge amounts of natural resources. Also, the colonies gave, or should I say, were forced to give Britain exclusive trading rights to hundreds of millions of people. All the factors contributed to the industrialization of Britain, making it from an agrarian underdeveloped country to a trading hub of the world and finally to a modern economic powerhouse. Evolution of industrialization. Industrialization is divided into many periods by the historians. We will encounter each of them shortly and separately. The first industrial revolution was the most important among the others. Mechanization was one of the largest factors responsible for urbanization and industrial economies. Besides improving production efficiency, mechanization encourages large-scale production and sometimes can improve quality of farm products. Steam power was used in all sorts of applications, including factories, mines, locomotives, and steamboats. Weaving loom, another wonder developed during the first industrial revolution, greatly enhanced the textile industry. Now on to the second industrial revolution. Mass production was achieved during this period. Rapid advances in the creation of steel, chemicals, and electricity helped fuel production, including mass production of consumer goods. Electrical energy and electrical bulbs were revolutionary inventions that proved the way for modern technology. The assembly line sped up the manufacturing process dramatically. It managed to improve production rate at factories and reduce the labor hours. The microchip technology revolutionized the electronic industry, helping make cell phones and computers. Both computers and cell phones revolutionized human living. The third industrial revolution began in the 70s in the 20th century through memory programmable controls and computers. Since the introduction of these technologies, we are now able to automate an entire production process without human assistance. The last of the Industrial Revolution, fourth Industrial Revolution, can be described as the advent of cyber-physical systems involving entirely new capabilities for people and machines. Development of network and internet made possible for everything to get connected. Development of artificial intelligence technology has already made its mark in world and are being extensively in different fields and areas. This is our future, and it is inevitable. Now, I am going to ask Waki to continue the presentation. Waki?
Thank you, Faiak, for going through the introduction and phases of Industrial Revolution. Now I'm gonna go through the pros and cons of it. If we see any change in in our daily life and human civilization, then it comes with gains and losses. If we see the positives of Industrial Revolution, we might see various changes and results. As for example, we can talk about the automation of agricultural system. Various kinds of technology has been introduced to agricultural sector so that it might be able to flourish more. And we are seeing the results now. The results can be shown as increase farm worker productivity has increased a lot. Industrial revolution has allowed farming to become much less labor intensive and many more. Now, if we see the communication and transportation sector, previously we had really trouble communicating, but conveying things and messages became easy now, and the people can travel faster and faster by air, by what bodies, or by road. I mean the railroad, airplane, car, steamship, etc. Communication over national and international matters has been made easy. Now we can also communicate with our parents overseas by telegraph, telephone, and radio. All this improvement and development has increased the standard of living. Improving standard of living has been another milestone. And one of the most significant reason behind that achievement would be industrial revolution. Human civilization stumbled a lot while running after development. But revolution led us to a cozy situation where we starve for more development without being hindered like before. Hindrance might be coming, but we can face it now. We have the technology, we have the improved equipments, so that we can face the hindrance a lot easier than before. Now standard of living has been improved and the wealth has increased a lot. Revolution has a huge impact on the wealth possessed by different class of people. As for the rich, their wealth has been showing constant increment, while middle class remains fluctuating as ever. But if we see the lower class people, they are getting jobs now. They are getting jobs due to mass production, and the mass production is possible due to division of labor. Mass production of goods is really possible due to the division of labor and increasing prevalence of machines in factories. So we can see a lot of advantages because of, the positive side of industrial revolution. Yeah, and we have a lot of other points too. Now I want to discuss about the negatives of industrial revolution. The change has losses and it has really ill effect and drawbacks too. Now the class division is a major point here, because a new middle class along with the working class has been created. Those in the middle class owned and operated the new factories. Now the rich people are getting richer, and the lower class people along the middle class, lower middle class people are being deprived of their rights too. And the pollution is one of the most crucial results, or I would say effect, of industrial revolution, because the factories and industries are polluting the air, water, and soil. The smoke is polluting the air. The wastage that is polluting the soil and water too. The living beings in the water is being affected too. The coal mine, or see the burning of fossil fuels pumped carbon into the atmosphere, which is real dangerous because it is causing respiratory illness and airborne diseases too. Now I want to discuss about some ill people, those who are being the owner of the factories and industries, and they're using the children as their worker because they think if they can use the children, then they will be able to pay them low wages, then profit will be there on their side. Now the children here are really helpless because their family wants money and they're not getting money, so they had to go for work, avoiding the education, so they're depriving of the education right. The children has to work 10 to 14 hours with minimal breaks, which is really dangerous for them, and they're not getting any proper working condition. Now if I'm here with the working condition, and that is really poor, because in recent survey we can see that a lot of accident has occurred, including the fire breaking out, burning out, and the building getting collapsed. So they're at very high risk, the workers, the children, they're over there. Now if we want to conclude here something, then in my opinion, despite having such negative effects, we're still seeking more development. So we should optimize it, keeping in mind about global warming, climate change, etc. Because destroying nature cannot be an option suitable for the future. So I think we should take optimal steps regarding our development, and we should not harm the nature too. So thank you for hearing me. Have a good day. Here I conclude my presentation.